All right, so once again, we're talking to Baba Adeyemi Oyelumi. He's given us a wide-ranging interview talking about Yoruba culture. He's one of the very first African people in America, born in America, to have been initiated into any probably traditional African system, and starting back in the 1950s. And talking about the influence that they have had with various people from the civil rights era to Black Power era to the Black Arts movement
and
Pan-Africanists, of course. Let's talk a little bit about Pan-Africanism and culture. How important was it? Well, it seems pretty interesting how important it was, but is it to traditional African culture? And I only mention that because, and you kind of alluded to something earlier when you talked about how we tend to let everybody tend to be more humanistic. How important is that? Because a lot of people, for some people I have seen over the years, as it pertains to African culture, some people have said that, you know, it's really about humanity and not necessarily an emphasis on Pan-Africanism and Black nationalism as far as spiritualism is concerned, because, you know, if we're African people and we're African spirituality, it should be embracing of all people and that sort of thing. What's your take on that?
First of all, on the last word that you spoke, embracing all, we have to embrace ourselves first. First of all, everybody has a worldview. We have to have a worldview of us as people, our culture, our spirituality. That's first. Mm-hmm. From that point on, we extend ourselves. The Pan situation has to deal with we are people that's been dispersed all over the world. Now, when we say Pan-Africanist, we're speaking about Africa, but we're also speaking about our brothers in the Pacific, mm-hmm. our brothers out in the islands, Australia, all these particular places. Mm-hmm. So, India, mm-hmm. there's large portions of people from that area also.
Right.
And we say Pan, when we understand our worldview, then we'll be where we're supposed to be. And this is the key thing to our survival. The Pan-Africans also include spirituality. Mm-hmm. And people who don't understand this, they're off course. So the future of Pan-African is very good because the spiritual concept is there. But, first of all, we have to understand how we're supposed to deal with it, what happened to it, when do we get off course? Mm-hmm. Because our worldview starts with us first, Africa.
Now you as and let's get back to you a little bit. You as a priest of Obatala, what kind of history in terms of you being, you know, initiated into Obatala? It seems like there's some history there with you in terms of that.
Yes.
You made history.
Obatala is one of the energies from the supreme entity, which we call Oludumare Olorun. Okay, and one of the deputies here on earth is Obatala, Eshu, Obatala, Ogun. Mm-hmm. These are then Orumila. These they fall in line. That's what makes the whole thing tick. Mm-hmm. Obatala plays a central part in that. Obatala energy, Obatala people, Obatala priests, because we have to do a lot of things, and we are from the Yoruba perspective. And then when you look at a lot of the traditional coming from the Kemetic situation, that energy is the father of some of the lesser energies, or Rishas, or Nephras. Okay, then Eshu is a communication energy. You have to have that energy. Eshu works along with Obatala and Ogun. See, Eshu is a communication energy, and Eshu makes sure everything works right. Eshu deals with all the other energies, because before you do anything with any of the Orishas energy, you have to go through Eshu first.
Communications. That sounds like something people could use with relationships, because they always talk about communication.
That's right. Communication is key. Eshu is a communicator. He opens up the thing for you. Sometimes he's opened the roads for you. Mm-hmm. Baba Ogun keeps the road open for you. Ogun is not only a warrior. Ogun is a builder.
Mm-hmm. Technology.
All this other stuff. Ogun has to do with anything that has to do with steel, that has to do with doctors and medicine, because the instruments they use, those are Ogun instruments. Ogun being that builder, he keeps the roads open for you. And Obatala deals with your head, your intelligentsia, and your eyes. All these energies deal with all parts of your body. That's where the people got the chakra system from. Because one book that I like to recommend to everybody is one by one of the brothers called Baba Adeyemi. He has a book called what's it called? The
Yoruba Handbook.
Handbook of Yoruba Tradition.
Yes.
It breaks down a lot of things. It's very good. There's other things out there, but he's one of the books that really breaks it down so people can understand it in terms of a lot of it. So I recommend that with other things, but that is one of the particular. At one point also, he was in Oyotunji. And the reason why I say that because he's a nationalist, he's a Pan-Africanist also.
Yes.
And he has a temple in East Orange, New Jersey.
And how important, because there are different houses or different, basically, I guess we could just say houses of all the different spiritual systems. But tell us a little bit about the particular house that you belong to.
Okay, the house that I belong to.
And then explain what a house is.
A house is house. The word house means house. Ile, that's the Yoruba word for house. Okay. And in the Yoruba system, there's many different houses, and the different houses they have, and we don't have no one type of priest. We have different types of priests. We have priests of Batala, priests of Eshu, priests of Ogun, priests of Shongo, priests of Oshun, Yemaya, Olokun, so forth and so forth. There is the supreme entity, Oludumare, Olorun, and Egun, which is dealing with the ancestors. Okay, the houses are important, and out of these houses come the different aspects of the Yoruba culture and the Yoruba spiritual concepts. Obatala does different things from Eshu, but the root is there, coming from the concept of the spiritual concepts with the ancestors, because the ancestors is one of the people that gives you your moral concepts, along with Obatala and Yemaya. Yemaya being the mother in a lot of houses, and each house they have certain things that they do that comes from the root, because everything has a root. But from that root they do different things. This is why a lot of confusion comes when people say you come from this house. Because some people may go to a priest who come out of a Santeria house, or come out from a Lukumi house, or come out from a Condemnblo house. But at the same time, they have the root of that, but they may do, just like you have cousins and brothers. The cousin may live in Mississippi, and you may live in New York, but you come out of the same mother.
Right.
Even if you didn't come out of the same mother, generally they're the same mother.
So it might be a different kind of way of doing
That's
things,
it.
but it's still the same root.
This is the point that we are in the history of spiritual thing now, to get a better understanding, so we can maneuver things. This is why when I say we, the house of and I like to say the whole old house of Oyotunji, because when we deal with our historical content, our spiritual content, we give the people all these combinations together. So when they go to different places, they know how to deal with these people and act with them. Although sometimes it has not been precipitated back to us, this is what we teach our people, all our priests. So when they know things, then we can work with everybody and do things. And this is the difference between the houses, and the houses are very important. And when we get to that point, that's where the Pan thing come in again too. You also have Pan spiritual houses. And a lot of people try to negate politics, but you can't negate politics.
What do you mean by Pan spiritual house?
Just like Pan-Africanism. You got black folks all over the world, African people. You got houses from different houses all over the world.
Okay. So for instance, there would be like a Obatala house and a Shango house or something like that?
That's it.
Okay.
Shango being a fire energy, Obatala being an air energy, Eshu being a communication energy. All these things are important. You have to know how to put these things together. But at the same time, their way of worship made different because each one of these houses or these spiritual houses, they have different way of doing their spiritual. They have different dance and different chants and different songs that they sing.
Mm-hmm. So,
because and the way we give reverence or worship, use that word worship, that it depends on how you use the word.
mm-hmm.
Because we don't worship our ancestors, we give reverence to them. That's the difference. A lot of people get that concept. Because you see the word written a lot of times in a lot of books about worship. We give reverence to the ancestors, we give reverence to the Orishas also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when you do that, then you understand how these things work and how things are working with us so we can do what we need to do. And we're at that stage that we're coming into this. This is why now we have different traditional concepts coming out of D.C. and Philadelphia, of all the different traditionals that surround the country that's doing a lot of things together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is spreading. People get a better understanding because people from the Arkans,
mm-hmm.
people from the Congo, they can do a lot of things together without animosity and all the crazy stuff.
Because
that is a defeated thing. From my standpoint, it's a defeated thing that comes out of the European concept of domination and supremacy and letting us fight among one another. This also goes back to the Willie Lynch syndrome situation.
Mm-hmm. So I guess maybe the African cultures, different systems have some kind of point of similarity.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Because when I was looking at the Kemetic situation, Yemaya be Aset,
Mm-hmm.
so forth and so on.
Talk about, you mentioned Obatala, you mentioned Ogun, you mentioned Eshu, you mentioned Aganju. Talk about some of the other major Orishas.
Yemaya.
And you just
female,
mentioned that. And that's dealing with them. Okay.
Olokun is female in some parts of the continent and in some place over here. But remember this, in African philosophy, in particular among the Yorubas, there's duality. We have male and female energy.
Mm-hmm.
We as people have male and female energies in us as people. We also have male and female energies in our spiritual concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yemaya is a female energy. Oshun is a female energy.
What is Oshun? Give us some characteristics.
Oshun is an energy that deals with culture, building things, pretty things, putting things together. Oshun is one of the energies that help give a lot of things to the Orishas, coming from the Iton, the history of the culture of the Yoruba people, when a lot of things was going on, when God Almighty, the spiritual entity, supreme energy, was doing things and performing the world. Because remember now, each particular culture had their version of how the world came about.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Yoruba's perspective, when the supreme entity told the energies to go down and put the world together and do things, it was all males.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a female in there, it was Oshun. In some of the stories,
mm-hmm.
and some of the story was Odudwa or Odu. That's
mm-hmm.
a whole other thing. But Oshun is prominent in a lot of the stories that goes on. Okay, so when they came back and report to Supreme Energy, he said, "What's going on?" He said, "You guys didn't do what you were supposed to." He said, "Well, we did everything that you told us to do. We did." He said, "Well, there's a woman there." He said, "Well," they was looking at her and said, "Well, we know she's a woman, but, she's not important." He said, no, that's not it. That's not what we're about. You go back there and do what you're supposed to do. Woman's got to have some input into everything that you do."
Mm-hmm.
From that point on, that's when all the things of matriarchy and this whole spiritual thing came from the female side.
Okay. And then...
and Oshun was that particular energy. Oshun is the one that also taught a lot of the other regions how to do divination.
Okay.
Through Irindel Ogun.
And what's that?
That's the cowrie shell divination.
Okay.
And also dealing with parts of the Ikins and parts of the Pele.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Pele is what?
The Pele is one of the instruments that the Ifa priests use the Babalawos use to do divination.
Yeah. And
which is called Dafa, and sometimes they call it Jidu. Same thing they do in Irindel Ogun.
What are some times that people would use divination? What are some things that they would use divination for?
Traditionally, they use divination for most everything, but they don't use it haphazardly. They use it for very important things, things that's happening in your family.
So not like what should I wear
Not
an orange shirt or a blue shirt today?
No, unless you go into something that's very important.
Okay.
That's not. Oh well, just sit down and read all day and say, "Am I the king of this house?"
Right.
That's nonsense.
Should I have pancakes or
there you go. That's it.
So, but definitely, should I marry this person?
There you go. Who's in this family?
Right.
Should I go take this job and this interview is important? What should I wear? All these kind of things.
Right.
I got a sickness. What do I need to do? What energies help governing this? Because all these particular things govern us as a people. That's why also from the cosmos, from the planetary system, all these things work together. And from the Kemetic system, and some people, they push that on the side, but the Yorubas in particular, we put that in there because it's important. Oshun would be governed by, I forgot the Oshun, the Yoruba word for it, but from the standpoint that most people use is Venus.
Yeah.
Eshu would be Mercury, Obatala would be
Jupiter. Jupiter.
Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. Shango would be
Mars. Mars.
Yeah.
No, not Mars. But
Mars would be Ogun.
Ogun, right.
And
it might be Uranus, or that's been known as a god, as a war.
Yeah. Oshun would be. Not Oshun, but Oya would be Pluto. Some things that they try to say ain't a planet now, but we know it's a planet.
Right. So what are the Odus? What is that?
The Odu is that's our particular spiritual concept. That is our what we call the Bible, the Quran, and all this.
So these are wise sayings, or what is it?
These are the whole concept of when you get a reading. That's what it's about. Okay. The Odu. That's why people write these things out and give you the thing and say, this is what's governing you.
So is it like probability, like certain, how many Odus are they?
It's 256.
Okay.
And this one has the derivatives of these because they come from all these orishas. And we also have a prophet too. Most people don't talk about it too much. It's called Orumila.
Orumila. Okay.
Okay.
And you mentioned Orumila before. Tell us about Orumila.
Orumila is a prophet. In some places you may see him as a saint. He went all over the places, all over Africa, various other places. Long before all these other prophets came along. Again, we're going back to the first things that's going on in the world. And a lot of people, see, this is what the European did, then later on the Arabs, then later on some of the Asian people did to cut us out of historical content that we didn't do anything. They got all the things that they are dealing with now from their concept came from us. And
what relationship does Orumila have to the Odus? Because you were talking about
Orumila has the relationship to the Odus of because he's the knowledge and the spiritual concept. And when you get the Odus, that tells you what you are, what you're about. It also tells you what energy governs you. Also works along with the cosmos or the planetary system. All these things work together. And that's where Orumila comes in.
Are there like major or lesser Odus?
That's majors and minors.
So how many majors?
10.
Okay.
5 minors.
Okay. Okay, so
6 minors, bro. Because 16 altogether.
16 altogether. Okay, so there's 16 major Odus. Okay, out of 256.
And see, these are the major ones, but they have those lesser ones in there.
Right.
Okay, but these are the major ones that comes up all the time.
The other ones kind of build on them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we were talking to Baba Adeyemi or Yelumi, Baba Efundeji, talking about just a brief overview, really, of traditional African culture, specifically the Yoruba culture, its way out of Africa, how it got here, how it matriculated to down to this present moment. And we thank you so much for giving us your wisdom.
One more thing.
Yes.
I'd like to say that Oyo Tunji played a key role in giving this, because from the early days, we helped to promulgate and spread a lot of this around to various other places and put everything. Because we used to work a lot with a lot of the Ghanesian people. That's where we used to work with Dennis Zulu and all those people in the early days also.
Out of New York.
Queen Mother Moore.
Yes.
All these people that was in, one way or the other, came in contact. We also helped start various things around the world with political things like Republic of New Africa and various other things. And while I was in New York, also from a personal point of view, I helped put together the African American Day Parade, which is in New York, which is still going on. Also, when I was in California, also did with the Kwanzaa Day Parade, which is still going on in Los Angeles right now today.
Okay. So lots of history and an 82-year young Baba. Today is the 31st of August in the year, the Roman calendar 2014, and I believe it's the year 6256 in the ancient Kemetic calendar. So we're going to try to get it right in all ways. All right, Baba, we appreciate you. We say to you, Adupoy.
Ashe o, Odupe.